let's start maybe with an overview of the subject before we get into the nitty-gritty, into the detail. Zoltán, why is OTP getting involved in artificial intelligence, as you say, hybrid intelligence business decision-making? Why are you doing this? What are the benefits for you and for your customers? How did it all start?
1.5 years ago, when we started to build our strategy, we started to seek for the right questions. And one of the questions we put on the table, and we were brave enough to put those questions on the table, that how the financial industry will look like 10 years from now. And it was something that we cannot bet what will happen. So instead of doing that, we started to think about the key strategy of capabilities. What kind of capabilities we need to earn, we need to control, we need to somehow be involved to manage to be successful in next 10 years. And one of the answers was AI. Because definitely AI as a capability will play a key role in next 10 years, and we would like to be part of it. And I will quote my colleague Lotar. He said that whatever you think about AI, you will be in touch with AI, or on the developer side or on the user side. So definitely that was the key message, and we started to do it by intention. And we were looking for the partner who is able to bring us and to deliver us the infrastructure, but also the capabilities. Because AI itself, in my belief, is a transformational technology. In my life, I met this type of transformational technologies. One was the internet, and second was the mobile applications, which was not just luxury of IT people, but transformed the overall economy, overall organization, overall culture, and that's the core reason why we started to deal with AI.
And in terms of what does the hybrid intelligence markets look like now, both inside your sector, the banking sector, but also outside?
So just to somehow define this question, because definitely AI is a transformational technology, but AI itself is not an aim. It's a tool. It's to achieve our aims. This is a capability from this perspective. And like in a case of home office world, hybrid working model, it was a period how we learned how to do it, how to manage it. And definitely, I see an AI as an artificial intelligence and human intelligence. We need to start to think how those two will work together. Because we have to utilize AI, and this is again not a goal, but that's more than a capability. And we have to have an understanding to fit the purpose type of usage to be for the AI, and how shall we be responsible users of AI.
So maybe if I can now turn to Lotar. Can you give us, obviously, I suppose maybe we're now thinking, what does hybrid intelligence look like in reality? What does it mean? Can you give us some examples of what hybrid intelligence looks like in practice?
Yeah, so it's really interesting just to add to the word intention. So our intention was to build the capability to use the tools that are provided by the AI technology. And what is really important, and just I will get back to the question, but AI has no intention, and that's very important. In many cases, AI is driven by fears. We can see regulators, they don't know how really to deal with this challenge. That what do we mean by AI? And I think it's worth make the distinction between intention and instinct. AI has an instinct that we are coding into it. It's pretty much controlled. It has no self-awareness. It has no intention. It will do what we request to do. And for sure, the level of flexibility there, the level of adoption capability is much bigger than rule-based solutions. But I think we shouldn't fear of it. It's like when you have a physical challenge, you have to lift a weight. Then who is fear of using a crane or whatever to make it happen? I think nobody. Everybody is fine with this. But when it comes to mental health, because we don't have the capability to process the amount of information during the time we have for it, then we have still some sort of fear. And I think our role, in addition to get familiar with the technology and be able to use this technology to provide better services to clients, to provide better services for students in education, for instance, it's also our role to show that it's not that scary. It's really for us. And it's really to be in a better position, live in a better world, because I think with AI we can solve a lot of challenges that due to our limitations, our memory, our processing capabilities, we just couldn't do. For instance, just to bring up an example, right now we are working on the Hungarian language model. So first of all, as a person, as an individual, as a professional, it fills me with admire that me and my team can work on it. And I see that a lot of others are also so much interested in how it's going. And we usually refer to it as a language model. So first of all, it's not just a language model. When a human starts to read books, it's not just fine-tuning its capabilities in understanding the language. Parallel to this, you are formed the way of looking at the world, the way you are thinking about different topics. And the funny thing is that exactly the same happens to an AI model. It's not just NLP. Let me bring you an example. Not going deeply into the details of context and things like that and bias, but if you just create a vector space, imagine it as a big space and you just throw words in it, but if you are not randomly order the words, but based on what the meaning of a given word is, so you have a reason why you put a word in this space to somewhere, like there is a typical NLP example. If you take the word king, what does it mean? Well, in the vector space, you can say, let's do arithmetical operations on the word king. Let's just subtract the word man. And then let's add the word woman. And surprise, surprise, you will get back from vector space the word queen. And that explains whether we think, is there a bias in an AI model? Yes, for sure, because based on what it saw so far, it will automatically take the conclusion what we humans are thinking of about a word, a sentence, a topic, and a bigger phrase, whatever, an article. So, yeah, that's in a nutshell. Sorry for taking it so long. I love this topic, so I could speak all day long.
Hours. Yeah.
Just to remind folks, if you want to ask a question, move from your very warm seat down to the microphone, because this is an open mic event. You're talking about some of the models that we could look at. Let's think then ahead. What are the possibilities, particularly thinking obviously in your sector, in the business decision making of a bank? What possibilities are we talking about looking down the track another 2 to 3 years? Because things are changing so quickly. I imagine you're probably already reached a place where you thought you would be in 2 to 3 years' time. So tell us about how you see the future possibilities.
Fortunately or unfortunately, we cannot see, because there are so many opportunities all around us, and every week we have new ideas, new approaches, and just to mention a few of them.
Yeah.
For example, for us to have more personal services for our clients, our customers, it is something that we can do it with the support of AI. And why we started, because this also works to the sentence, why we started to develop the GPT 3-level natural language model, which is about 175 billion parameters. I would like to repeat again, 175 billion parameters, because we think the spoken and the written language is the biggest data and information set in a certain environment, in particular environment. And this is how we would like to make the interface between written and spoken languages. This comes to the next use case, which is a service center, customer centers, where we can use. And just one example, today we have some solutions on space. You are calling the contact center, say yes if you are English, yes, and this is going through the decision tree.
Yeah.
But with AI, it will be even more simple, because with AI, you will just say, I lost my credit card and I would like to have it on Monday on this and this branch. And the AI will just ask one question, would you like to have a red or blue one? And that's it, because this is the understanding, and it will shorten. And the third example, which might be very interesting, where we can use the AI, and this is also the ongoing development within the bank, that how can we predict that if somebody intends to leave the company 2-3 months in ahead. For example, checking the code of our coders, you can have a pattern how they change their behavior during the coding, and this is some kind of prediction how we can predict that he's a bit burned out, or his intention is to leave the company, and this is where we can interact. And nowadays it's a huge advantage because everybody is fighting for good resources.
Wow, interesting. Hi, I think you want to ask a question.
Yeah, hi everyone.
Hi.
So you just said that we don't have to fear AI because it's fully under control, but the title of the program says that hybrid intelligence. So what do you mean by that, after all?
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Zoltán.
Well, let's go.
Okay. Okay. So we are just coming back to the example. If you haven't got enough power to lift a weight, you ask for some sort of machine's help or whatever. The same applies to our mental capabilities. If I have a challenge to understand a problem, it can be fraudulent activities that I can't really see the rule, the pattern in it, then I will ask for AI's help, because as Zoltán said, it has like, even if we have enough computing capacity, then we can have like a neural network that uses like 175 billion neurons to solve this problem. Actually, unfortunately, I still have no such amount of free capacity. I usually recognize that I'm somewhere below, at least that can focus on this type of activities. Just to put into context, a worm has to solve its problems and challenges from like 300 neurons. Yeah, it does pretty much what it has to, but we wouldn't expect too much of it. And 175 billion parameters, somehow like 4 times less than a human brain has, an average human's brain has. It's significant from the perspective that it doesn't have to do a lot of things. It just needs to focus on one specific task, or like understanding the language and things like that. We have a control on what the model can see. It cannot go to a library by itself and just read books that we don't want to. So we fully control what it can learn of or learn from, and I think that's the key point. It's not happening in a way today that an AI model has an intention to learn something. No, we tell to the model what has to learn. Now, ethicality and things like that.
Responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility, ethicality, it's all driven by humans today, and I can't foresee when it's gonna change, whether it's gonna change ever. But if a firm is ethical, its AI solution will be ethical as well. If it isn't, well, it's just a matter of time, but hopefully the market will just sort these companies out, yeah.
And just to add something to this, and I will come from a bit of different angle, because when we approached AI, it was some kind of necessity, because we saw on the market that we are experiencing the exponential growth on the market. Exponentiality, not in terms of business, but in terms of speed. Just imagine, for example, the COVID situation, that, for example, to develop the new vaccine, it takes normally 4 or 5 years. and we need to do it within 8 months. And how AI is used for. So definitely, this is the answer, and we would like to have this capability, or I will come with another answer. There is a prediction in Hungary that till 2027, there will be 30,000, I will repeat again, 30,000 yearly self-driven drones in the flight space.
Wow.
From flight control perspective, how you can handle it with human resource, it's even impossible. Because just to compare, before COVID, there were 30,000 flights in Europe, civil flights in Europe, and the prediction is that we will have this self-driven drone, 30,000 per day in Hungary by 2027. So definitely there are challenges, and this is something that AI, I will express myself in a way that we need to master AI.
Yeah. You picked up, you mentioned, Lotar, as an example, how for a physical task, if something's too heavy, we get machinery to help us. In other words, you were saying that we seem to be happier with assistance on physical tasks than we are with mental tasks. Has your analysis shown why is that? Why are we more afraid of mental support from AI or other forms of technology?
Yeah, so first of all, I usually fear of not knowing a technology, an emerging technology, rather than getting familiar with it and let's just put it to our toolbox and use it if it makes sense. So why is that? Because usually the fear is coming from unknown. So, and I recognize in many cases, and it's really important to be very honest. We have a lot of things, a lot of questions, good questions, that the answer is we don't know yet, but we will work on to get the answers. And AI and the opportunities in it are raising a lot of very good questions, where unfortunately, even we are researching in this field, the answer is we don't know. Just a very interesting, so a lot of changes has happened in the way of how I think about it since Zoltán came and said that, look, we have a supercomputer contract, and then we could go for building a Hungarian language model, which is for sure was great, but it was making a little fear inside that, oh wow, am I clever enough for that? Am I able to understand it under the hood, really? And yeah, it's still challenging. We believe we are getting closer and closer, but the answer should be, when you have a fear, the answer should be just get to know what is this, and that will make your feeling of comfort. So what I'm doing today, just for example, I had a little fear of, okay, what if I have only 10 minutes and I should just sum up what is this all about? And I recognize myself, since we have a great English model, Da Vinci, all these things, I asked AI, what should I say? And it was really fascinating that it summed up in such a creative way that maybe I couldn't. So this answers whether it's good or not. It's somewhat similar to Google, that people started to use Google on a daily basis. I think the same will happen with AI.
And what are we learning about ourselves? You're working on AI, but it's obviously not a one-way process. What are you learning? What are you and your colleagues learning about how you work in working with AI?
Yeah, so we don't know really much about how our brain is learning. I know neuroscience, and really I hope there's no neuroscientist here who would throw me with a cabbage or a can of Coke, whatever, but we don't know exactly how our brain is working. What I'm pretty sure of, it's an ecosystem of models. Whoever just had the experience that there is a first word you would reply, and it comes back to whether an AI model should see toxic text or not. My answer is yes. I'd like to understand if you send me to somewhere else, but it does not necessarily mean that I should reply in the same way. So probably when it comes to contact center, whatever, it means that we would like to understand everything that happens around, but we would like to be very strict on how we respond to that. And that's, I think, also giving the feeling of safety because we wouldn't let the AI that, okay, you learned that if somebody says, go to, I don't know, somewhere else, then you should reply. Because, yeah, from text, that would be natural, and that would be okay.
And we can list longly how many mistakes we made in the last 6 months. And this is the real proof that we are doing it. We are not just talking about it, but we are doing it in real life, and how we can come to the responsibility. Or, for example, this finding what Lotar mentioned, that we need to understand everybody, but it is restrictive. How can we respond to that?
Right. Okay.
There are many examples that how people are talking, for example, with a customer center, what type of words they are using. But it's not allowed to us to reply in the same way. So definitely this asymmetry must be handled, and this is also somehow impacting everything what we are doing and how we are developing.
Yeah, so just one more thing to that there are 3, let's say, components today to teach a model or train a model, and one is computing capacity. Luckily, we have it. There is data, for sure it requires a lot of data, and the third thing that is required is how much time do I show to the model the data I have. And there is no a cookbook that would give you the answer to that question. And that's why we usually refer to it as building capability. It's a research type of activity. And we don't know, why 175 billion parameters? Well, because somebody at OpenAI came up with this idea. That's the only answer. There is no scientific model behind that. And we still need to search for the, let's say, the proper size for a language that is like complex as Hungarian. English language is much simpler from the perspective that there are more rules that could be recognized in the way how English is spoken, and it's really, really different, the Hungarian, the German language, and there are others in the world, and we don't know how big the model should be to understand the language. And that could be a point of fear, for instance, if Zoltán will come to me, Lotar, where is the model? And oh, wow, it's there, it's 175 billion parameter, but it has no clue about what Hungarians are talking.
Maybe it's worth to spend one sentence on the capacity what we have in our building. This is in 3 racks target infrastructure, which is equal with 1 million laptop capacity, with the 20%, only 20% of energy consumption.
Wow.
So this is very green solution, definitely in 3 racks, but the capacity overall is equal to 1 million laptop capacity, which is in petaflops, 56 petaflops capacity.
And how do we keep up with this rapid and continuous progress? We talked earlier about the fact you're already at a place now where you thought you would maybe take another few years to get to. How do you just keep up with this?
With the faith and the knowledge.
Right.
And I will tell you one example, and this is how we phrased internally in the company our strategy. We called it like a vase strategy. Vase, or for Hungarian, vaze. So vase, vaze strategy. And why we called it a vase, vaze strategy? Because when my mother, it was I think 50 years ago, when we received her driving license, she was disturbed by listening to the radio during the drive. What we are doing today, we put in the vase or vase where we would like to go, with a 100% belief that this application will help us. What we are doing as a capability, we are driving, we are making phone calls, we are listening radio, we are giving the information to the community, receiving the information from the community in a faith that it will help us to get home or get to the target in a most effective way. And these are the capabilities what we developed during the last 10 years. And this is how we are using the technology on a safe way and a responsible way. This is exactly the journey road we need to go through. Yeah. And in my personal opinion, one of the future words which will impact our daily life will be the convergence. convergence because different scientific things will come together to help each other and to help our life, and this is why we strongly believe that AI as a transformational technology must support us, and we need to get this capability, and we need to master this capability as a responsible company, not only in Hungary but in the region. So this is why we need to go through this journey and really to gather real experiences.
Thank you. Maybe a final word from the two of you. Lotar, final message to the audience?
Yeah, I really propose to everybody to get familiar as much as possible with this technology. If you have a fear, raise your question, search for articles, and you will always hear rumors, whatever, around this technology, but ask those who are actually doing it. And there are a lot of good universities, even at Hungary and across the globe, and I think it's everybody's benefit to get familiar with it, similarly to a company or firm that it makes a lot of sense to put it to our toolbox. Do by yourself as well. It can help you to learn new things. It can help you to be an artist if you have no, let's say, practice in this. It can help you in anything. And I think you will meet with this anyways. Just prepare yourself.
Okay. Zoltán?
Just to reveal the secret, this title was really produced by AI.
Yeah.
Definitely, Lotar and myself were sitting in my office and saying, okay, let's put the right question to the AI, and let's promise that we will accept the answer. And definitely what happened, we put first question, then the answer came, okay, we are not satisfied with that. So let's put another way, approach another way the question, then we put a second question to the AI, and then the outcome was satisfactory. So first of all, there is a human interaction in. If we are not satisfied, we can run our own confidence model that we are satisfied or not. This is the first thing that when you are running the responsible AI, the human interaction is needed. Yeah. Second things, just do it. Just do it with the belief, with the faith that it will support, it will help the exponential speed of the growth what we are facing today.
Thank you. Zoltán, Lotar, thank you for a fascinating half an hour. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for everybody.
Thank you very much.